listeners, is we are filled with questions. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Good to be here, Mojo. Thank you for opening up your doors to your studio once again for another
always my
podcast
pleasure.
Evening here in the Two Joes podcast. Two average Joes sitting around, shooting the shit, asking the questions, sharing with you how we view this wonderful, beautiful, amazing planet.
And it's mainly questions that we have, listeners, and if we act like we have answers, then call us out, because we really have, the fake headlines, the fake news, the science, the this and the that, are there really 9 planets in the solar system or only 8?
The world is flat. Didn't you know that?
Yes, and many groups around the globe think that too.
That's just scary. That's just scary.
That was a joke that Harp Joe's wife told one time, is there are many groups out there who believe in a flat Earth, and these groups exist all over the globe.
Yeah. Speaking of
now, please think of that, listeners. The flat Earth
movement.
Group members exist all over the globe. All over this round globe of ours.
People are people. That's one of the things we got to remember. When a politician or the media tries to make you vilify this other culture, these other people, this other nation, people are people. I promise you, I've met people from Iran, some of the nicest guys I've ever met in my entire life. Super people.
Agreed.
I have met people from Mexico. Super people. I have relatives in France. Super people. Canadians. Super people. Well, everyone knows Canadians are super people, but...
they're the best, eh?
They're the best, eh? They're so nice, eh? They apologize to a tree when they bump into it, eh?
Yes, they do.
I love Canadians. I love people. People are good. Governments are where we got to kind of say, hey, government, you represent us. Let's sharpen up. Let's straighten up. Let's work together. And that's where I come from most of the time, people. Just so you understand, I'm an engineer, so I'm a problem solver. I'm a solution finder. And how do you find solutions? Well, you try something, you see what the result is, and then you say, okay, well, I'm going to tweak it this way and try something else.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what frustrates me with government so much, is that they're just not flexible enough. They're not, they pass some legislation and then they just lock it down. And they can't change it. We can't debate it. And, it's like, no. You pass it and you say, in 5 years, we're going to take a look at how it's doing and we're going to tweak it and try something.
2 years.
Or whatever, whatever makes sense. I mean, some might be 2 years, some might be 5 years. I mean, let's use our brains and let's solve these problems and find solutions and quit throwing blame all over the place.
Yeah.
It's one of the things, my dear wife, I love her, but she's really good at throwing blame around, and then she doesn't even really know she does it. I think she kind of grew up with that, and it's even tough for me to point it out to her because, and I'm kind of placing blame, so it's kind of this weird catch-22.
You're talking about cynicism.
Is that what it is?
People who are cynical.
She's just really good at throwing out these little jabs, but she doesn't even really know she's doing it. It's just interesting.
Yeah. Well, and of course, I've met your wife many times and love her dearly, but I understand. I was raised around cynical people also, and listeners, may I give you my version of what cynical means, what cynicism is. It's very different from being critical, from criticizing somebody. When you're a cynical person, you are assuming something about someone without knowing anything about them. Oh, well, I'll bet she's this or that, or I'll bet he is this or that, and you raise that, and you bring that up as a possibility. I was raised around that, and I honestly, Manjo, I don't know if I'm still a cynical person. I think maybe I am.
I haven't noticed that about you. I think I kind of know where you're coming from. Like, a lot of times, she'll put words in my mouth. She'll say, "Oh, you think this and that and this and that." Well, I could try and defend myself, but one of my favorite philosophers says, "Defense is the first act of war." You try and defend yourself, well, now you've just opened up this can of worms. So a lot of times I'll just let it go, and I'll think to myself, she doesn't know, and she assumes she does, and what can I say? I mean,
And, well, you keep the peace then.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm a peacemaker. I'm a solution finder. I don't want to throw blame around. Let's live our lives and figure things out and enjoy each other's company. You know,
I've always loved peacemakers the most.
Speaking of enjoying each other's company, how good was that jam last Friday? Just the guys, which was kind of cool, and it was a lot of fun. It was all acoustic.
Epic. All acoustic. And all of the right people were here.
The male voices blending and singing songs with sexism involved and just enjoying the shit out of it. It was fun.
Listeners, it was all guys here. So yes, there was sexism involved. We objectified female forms. Indeed,
we sang songs that a lot of women consider sexist.
Yes,
that's all we
did, and we had a ball. Main Joe, one of my favorite parts of that evening. Just 2 nights ago, Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night.
Was, Dojo was here, and he brought that big, beautiful, blonde, fat body guitar.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That beautiful instrument. And we asked him a number of times to play his signature song, Norwegian Wood. Yeah. And he didn't. He didn't.
No.
And then we played it for him.
Yeah,
you remember? And
I remember that. That was kind of cool.
You took lead on that. You took lead.
It wasn't perfect. It wasn't up to his caliber, but we got through
sang it. You played it, and I sang it loud and proud. And at the end of the song, I think we did a proper tribute to Dojo, saying he's played it for us dozens of times over the years. We finally got to play it for him, and that was a thrill for me.
And
that was
my hat's off to Dojo. He was like, "Thank you guys, that was cool."
He was very gracious,
appreciative of it.
Very
appreciative
gracious.
Of it. Yeah.
And then he joined in a few songs after that.
He did.
He sat over here to my left, and joined into some Zeppelin and some Beatles after that, and
very cool evening.
That was an incredible jam. I also remember at one point where the elder Czech Joe was sitting on the love seat over here playing Dojo's big, beautiful, fat body blonde guitar. Dojo was out on the deck having a cigarette, and every now and then the elder Czech Joe would play something so melodic and so beautiful that Dojo out on the deck would lean his head in and go, "That was really cool, man."
I think I remember that once or twice, because the way Czech Joe was bending those strings on an acoustic, not easy to do, and just making that guitar sing, it was so fun.
Well, and the younger Czech Joe a number of times said, the elder Czech Joe, he's an electric guy. He hates acoustic.
That
he said that
funny.
I
was telling my wife about that. I find that hard to believe because he can play an acoustic like no one's business, and it sounds great.
There's no way he hates that.
He might appreciate the little bit more versatility he has with an electric. It's easier to bend the strings. You can certainly make it have many more different sounds. All you have to do is step on a pedal, and
the action's smaller.
Yeah, exactly. And the strings are a little bit easier to bend and stuff. And, But no, I think he's fine on an acoustic.
Oh yeah, I think he enjoys it. He doesn't hate it.
No,
he does not hate it. We'll call the younger one P-Joe. I think that's fair.
Okay,
Isn't
sure.
P-Joe?
Yeah.
And then G-Joe, then. P-Joe and G-Joe.
That works for me.
Yeah, that should be good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that night up. I was looking forward to bringing that night up tonight. It was a small jam, listeners. There were only 5 of us here, 6. Not even any spectators.
No spectators.
It was all participants that night.
Right.
Well, not the whole time, listeners. Some of us sit songs out, don't we?
True.
Some of us
yes.
will sit one out and just go, "This is theirs." With they know this one. He knows this one. They know this one really well. I'm just gonna,
or a lot of times I'll just play
a little bit,
I'll play parts of it. I'll just join in on the chorus, or I'll just play little drums on the edges of here and there. Definitely. Yeah. I rarely sit out a song completely because I just can't, because my foot will start tapping or something. But I know what you mean. You sometimes you got to let them take the lead, and you just got to fill in and jam.
Because it's theirs. And it's been theirs for a long time. You've seen them do it many times, and you are getting treated to it yet again.
Yes.
You're getting another performance of it.
Yeah.
And also, I love the way that you will pick up a percussion instrument. Listeners, Main Joe will pick pick up a conga drum or a cajon, a slap top cajon.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. That it has like 9 different sounds in it, doesn't it?
I keep it simple though. I when I play that thing, I envision.
You and your wife both do. Yes.
She plays. She likes the bongos a lot, but I like the cajon because it sounds a lot like just a simple drum kit. You got your snare and you got your bass drum, so I just kind of focus on those 2 sounds.
It is. Yeah.
And just kind of keep a rhythm and kind of fill in the background a little bit.
You know, Main Joe, would you mind taking our podcast in kind of a different direction and putting that between your knees and showing what a snare does and what a bass does and the side hit and how many different sounds are possible on a cajon?
Like I say, I don't know because I've never really experimented with it that much. When I play it, I usually just try to, like I said, make it sound like a small drum kit is all I do.
Yeah. And you've done that exceptionally well.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on that suggestion. But it's
maybe
a good
another one for the future.
I really do want to try out this system we have here with instruments someday, you and I, and maybe next segment. But I think we need to plan it out a little bit. But what I'd love to do, actually, let's do that next segment. Maybe let's do a knocking on heaven's door. Because I love the way you sing and play it, and I love playing the cajon with you on it. And I think let's try out this little system, see if we can record some decent musical audio.
Yeah, we'll get back into the test realm and listen to it.
Practice music podcast just to see how that goes. But
listeners,
for this one, let's get back on. I don't know, where do you want to go from here? The jam was awesome. We love music. Music loves us. Music is, like a lot of the reggae guys, they say music's going to solve the world's problems. It definitely brings people together in a great way, man.
Well, I wouldn't have met you, Main Joe, if not for music.
True.
You got to know P-Joe through hockey, and then you two linked up through music, and then he brought you over here for music.
Yep.
And then here we are doing a podcast with one of what I consider a dear friend.
Yep.
Music is a magical thing.
It's magical.
Magical thing.
So cool.
And it's always positive. I mean, you and I could have met any number of ways. What if we were both bank robbers or drug dealers, or pornographers, something, Hey, would we still be hanging out? I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's
music. In music, you have to support each other. Like I was saying, you can't take the lead on every song. Sometimes you got to support the person taking the lead on the song. I love that about music. Absolutely. You're a part of something greater than yourself,
Yeah. Yet you're a part of that thing that is greater.
Yeah,
you're a part of that.
It's magical. That's where the magic comes from. And I think that's the way we need to look at the United States. Let's contribute to this great nation of ours instead of trying to tear it down, trying to build it in some weird vision that you think it should be. I mean, not everyone agrees with you.
Yeah.
I can't be over here playing Zeppelin while Mojo's over here playing the Beatles, right? That just doesn't quite work. We have to play the Beatles now, and then we have to play Zeppelin then, and we have to mix and match and blend.
That's good. That's good. Main Joe, I've thought recently, ever since I saw that movie yesterday.
Great movie, from what I understand.
I've been thinking about a quote from Paul McCartney.
Oh.
I will not get the quote exactly correct, but essentially he said, I don't know how to read or write music. Just every now and then I get a song title in my head, and then it just blossoms from there. It just kind of goes from there. He can't read or write music.
I did not know that about him. That's amazing. Yeah, I know one of my favorite songs that he wrote is Let It Be. And I think that came to him in a dream, or something like that.
Yeah, so that or Yesterday.
Something
I'm not
like
sure.
That. Yeah.
And it might have been My Life, that song My Life. There are people I remember. I'm not sure which one it was, but yeah. And what does it really matter how it came to them? The volume is what impresses me the most. They weren't like 4 or 5 great songs on one album. They were a decade of incredible music. Inventive, innovative, creative, unbelievably good.
It's one thing to have one hit song. It's another to have that kind of continuation. What's the word I'm looking for? When you're prolific.
Consistency.
That kind of
prolific is a great word.
To be that prolific.
There.
And then another person that really I have to take my hat off to is like Madonna. to
Agreed.
reinvent yourself like that and just have hit after hit after decade, it's just amazing what she's
From
been able to do.
1981 to 1995, something like that. That's one hell of a
Because
career.
I've tried to write songs before, and a lot of my songs come out kind of the same. They've got this Main Joe personality, this Main Joe rhythm, this Main Joe feel to it.
Yes.
But Madonna, she's just like all over the map. I mean, she to really, and the
As
Beatles
were the
too.
Beatles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now let's go the opposite direction.
Okay.
What would be a good one or two hit wonder? I've got one in mind already.
I do too.
Mine is Blind Melon, the song "No Rain." That's the only song of theirs I ever heard. I could not identify. I know they have more. They're guaranteed they have more. Yeah. What's yours?
Well, that girl that married Paul Simon, what's her name? Edie Brickell.
Yeah, great song.
Amazing
great
song.
What I am.
Love that song, but all her songs kind of sounded the same, and none of the others were hits. You know, that was the one that caught fire, and that was pretty much all she had, as far as I know.
How much did it help the Beatles that they would also invoke other instruments? They would use a harmonica and a piano on occasion. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
Zeppelin would too.
Van Halen did too. I was listening to some blocks on Arrow 103.5, the FM, the music you grew up with.
All rock and roll only.
But they were playing blocks of Van Halen, and Eddie Van Halen was playing the piano.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
yeah. Just musicians, the ones who continue doing it.
I play a little ukulele. I play a little harmonica.
Yeah.
Like you say, I like to bang on the drum a little bit.
Yeah.
I would love to spend some time and learn piano. I think it'd be a blast.
Yeah, keys are foreign to me. I can't understand the keys. I've tried a couple of times. They elude me.
My deal is I can't make my fingers do this on this hand and this on this hand.
Yeah.
But then people say, well, you're doing that when you play guitar. But it's a little different, though, because this hand all it has to do is strum pretty much or pick a pattern. It's a little bit different when you're trying to do, one of my favorite piano players is, gosh, I hate it when I can't remember names. Louisiana dude, has that accent. He's
he's younger than us, I think.
He's kind of a Frank Sinatra type singer.
Yeah,
What's his name?
He was on an episode of Cheers.
Harry Connick Jr.
Here we go.
Yes, Harry Connick Jr. He was in that movie Memphis Belle, which I really love. One of my favorite war movies of all time. You ever see that? It's about a B-2 bomber in World War II.
I never saw that one.
He's one of the crew members. He was really good in that movie.
He's had some great roles. I'm a fan of the guy.
He was in Cheers. Yeah, I am too. Mm-hmm. I like him a lot. Yeah. One of my favorite Christmas albums is by Harry Connick Jr.
And the producers of that episode of Cheers had the good wisdom to make his piano playing skills part of that episode that he was in.
He was such a good actor. I'm really kind of surprised he didn't take that further because I think he had a lot of potential there.
I think he took it as far as he wanted to. He was in a lot of movies. I think he was in like 6 or 8 movies.
Maybe I need to look him up and watch some more of those movies then because I only remember a couple. Okay.
I think he's played a bad guy even.
Really?
I think he has. Wow. I'll have to remember. Listeners, help us out down below.
I understand he's still jamming piano in New York City. And any given night, you can just go down and hang out in the music scene and run into him. You know?
See, now there is what I think it was either Princess Diana or Mother Teresa said, try to live a life of value rather than a life of success. And that Harry Connick Jr., I think, has led a life of value to a lot of people, many people. The same way Elton John has.
Yeah.
You know, and so many of these musicians. Just today, I watched a movie called Nowhere Boy. Did you ever see Nowhere Boy? Produced by the Weinstein Company. The guy that was recently,
Casting couch dude.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
He's probably the guy that gave that couch its name, you know what I mean? Gave it its reputation, right?
He might have got a cut of every one of those, maybe. It could be.
Yeah.
It was about John Lennon growing up and who he grew up around and who his mother really was and how he first met Paul McCartney and George Harrison. Ringo never made it in the movie. Never saw him in the movie.
No, he came in later.
Yeah. Fascinating. Forgot what launched me into Nowhere Boy. Now, we were just talking
Harry
about
Connick Jr., leading a life of value.
A value, yes. Yeah. I guess that's it.
That's one of the things I love about U2 is just the way, they had this immense fame. And I don't get the feeling it went to their heads. And Bono has done so many good things with his money and his philanthropy, and he even got Bill Gates doing philanthropy and stuff, as from what I understand. And it just seems like their heart's in the right place, it seems like.
You raised the band U2, and that's a worthy raise. That's a very worthy
But you're not necessarily into them that much.
Yes, I am.
Are you?
Yeah.
I could have swore I was going to kind of bring them into the jams a little bit, and I heard U2 playing here when I came over before the jam, and you said that was playing U2. It wasn't you playing U2.
Yeah.
So maybe more into U2 than you are, but
probably.
I didn't get the impression you were that into them. But,
Marker. Dojo is more into music in general than I am. Much more so. He is much more encyclopedic.
I find that hard to believe. You've introduced me or reintroduced me to so many great songs from my past. The Zeppelin, dude.
And
I
Mary Jane's
Zeppelin's
Last Dance. I introduced you to that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
You brought back Petty and Zeppelin for me. How epic is that? I mean,
thank you.
I used to love Zeppelin so much when I was back in my military days. I was stationed in Rantoul, Illinois, a short drive from Champaign, Illinois. And Champaign, Illinois
Champaign-Urbana?
Yes, it was a college town, so they had a good bar scene, right?
Yeah.
And they had bands down there, and there was this one band called Clockwork Orange that did these amazing Zeppelin covers. That was my first introduction to Zeppelin, was live cover band, and I was 21, 22 at the time. So isn't that amazing how long it took me to discover Zeppelin?
Well,
I mean, how old were you when you discovered Zeppelin? You were probably much younger than that, I imagine.
Discovered or started playing for myself?
No, discovered, listening to.
Yeah, I was younger.
Getting into.
I was younger than
saying,
20.
Wow.
Yeah, saying, holy cow, this
cool.
band is amazing.
Nice.
My neighbor across the street, kid I grew up with, and by the way, listeners, I grew up in this house, in Mojo Studio. Neighbor across the street got a giant poster of the Zeppelin with the wings, and he's flying up.
I remember that one, I think. Yeah,
and there's some kind of sun rising behind him or something. And he got this thing and he put it on his closet door and slid it down the middle.
Nice.
So that it would open with his closet. But when his closet was closed, it was a complete picture.
That's cool.
And he introduced me to Zeppelin probably at 13 years old,
nice.
14.
Okay.
Something like
that's
that.
That's what I kind of figured. Because you know him much better than I do. So I knew it had to be more of a, overtime, repetitive thing. That's how you learned them so well.
And then have been a fan since. Back in my early 30s, before I started playing guitar, I was always hanging out at Dojo's house. Our kids were raised together essentially, and and we would often bring up old Zeppelin concerts from YouTube or Hulu or whatever it was.
Oh, nice.
And just zone out on that for a long time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So. Your first exposure to Zeppelin was when you were 20.
21 probably, military days, yeah.
Okay. And that was about the time you started playing guitar? When did you start playing guitar?
I think first time I picked up a guitar was my sister's guitar. My sisters grew up in the teenagers in the 70s, so they were kind of like hippie chicks in a way. So my older sister had a guitar, and I played that a bit. But then I wanted my own guitar because I didn't want to have to borrow my sister's every time I wanted to play. So I took my paper out money, and I went and bought a smaller guitar. It was a smaller body guitar because I was 13. I was younger.
Bought his own guitar, listeners.
I bought it for $40. It was a Hondo. And I tuned it up, and I started writing songs and jamming to it. But I didn't. I was teaching myself, and I didn't quite fully understand that what you were doing when you put your fingers on the strings is you weren't trying to necessarily mute them. You were trying to push them down so hard that they made a different note. It took me a while to grasp that concept, so I just never sounded all that great, and so I eventually just kind of quit.
And a big problem I had during those formative days, Manjo, was how hard do I need to press the strings down in order to make it a perfect note, a perfect sound, and you don't have to press hard at all. In fact, you can jump from chord to chord to chord to chord and just kind of grace it a little bit.
The right guitar helps a lot.
Indeed, yeah. Different guitars make a huge difference.
I was visiting my brother not too long ago, and we were having a jam, and I was playing his guitar, and oh my God, it just murdered my strings. And this is coming from a guy that plays every single day. but his guitar was so much harder to play than mine. It was brutal.
Big action.
So
tall
yeah,
action.
it just makes it makes a big difference. So one of my dreams is to buy him a guitar that's actually playable, and get him to play more. And if nothing else, at least I have something to play when I go visit him. But that's kind of something I want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes it. And that's so. After I quit playing at 13 or 14 or whatever, when I went into the military, after I got out of tech school and got to my main base, a lot of the guys there played guitar. And so I went and bought myself a small amp and an electric guitar, much easier to play. Like we were talking in the last podcast, it's got or maybe it was this one,
lighter strings.
Lighter strings.
And
you can bend them more,
action.
easier to push down. You get a bigger sound out of it with the amp and everything.
And you can cover more strings with two fingers.
I played that, and that's when I really got going with guitar. And then I ended up buying that acoustic that I play at the jams every night when I was in the military way back then. And then I never played my electric anymore.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? So
that
I sold.
That's great.
I regret selling that electric because it was awesome, but I just never played it. All I played was my acoustic, and so I sold it to my buddy. And so that's how that all went down. I've been playing ever since, pretty much.
Yep, on that same acoustic.
Yep, same acoustic. It's
a beautiful guitar.
My lady.
It is a beautiful guitar. No pick guard on that thing at all. You don't need one, dude. You are extremely clean with your playing, with your strumming.
Thank you.
Extremely clean. It's well, I got to say, both you and P-Joe have improved. Both.
Absolutely. Well, you play every day. That just tends to happen.
Yeah. Well, and then what's most impressive is the creativity you guys are showing higher up on the. Well done. Yeah. Was that my computer?
Party foul. No, I hit my mic stand with my beer marker.
Is the creativity you're showing higher up on the fret? Both you and P-Joe is you're starting to do the whiny poetic stuff.
I got this amazing text from P-Joe after our jam, dude.
Oh,
I want to share it with you.
That. Love to hear that.
Okay, where is it? There it is. I think this is it.
This is where I'm doing something right. I've got friends like you guys in my life.
Yeah. He sent me a text the next morning at 7:13 in the morning. By the way,
7:13. Really?
Luckily, I left my phone in my office downstairs, so it didn't wake me up because I was still asleep.
That was Saturday morning then.
Yeah. He says, Main Joe. He says, your solos were spot on yesterday. It felt like you knew them almost ahead of time for a particular song, which is impossible. You used to play just this small scale box in the past. What have you changed? And I said, I haven't changed anything. Maybe it was just growing confidence or developing my ear, which is true. If you play often, your ear does get better at hearing things like that. Mm-hmm. And then I ended it by saying, maybe it was just those pina colada shots.
What a wonderful reach out.
No, that was awesome, wasn't it? I was like tickled by that. That was really cool.
That is why I am a secular humanist. Stories just like that. That's how society progresses and builds bonds and moves on and creates new stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
you guys have been creative many times. I've seen it together. Together. With you.
Well, yeah.
I've been there. I've seen it. It's
and you too, dude.
show.
I mean, it's. I've heard you play "Knocking on Heaven's Door," which I hope to do, and then maybe in the next segment, maybe in a later segment.
We'll do it. Yeah.
And you've played it for me 1,000 times by this point. Okay, maybe 1,000's an exaggeration, but whatever.
81.
I remember. Some nights are better than others, but this one particular night, I swear, you sang it so well, and it was so emotional that I almost had tears in my eyes, dude.
Thank you, man.
It was, it touched me, and I didn't expect it to, because like I said, I've heard it so many times and everything, but...
Thank you so much.
Yeah, music is magic, and sharing with people is magic, and giving someone a thumbs up saying, well done.
Nice.
Nice
effort.
It leads to good things.
Yeah. It was only 10 days ago where you were afraid to even play that song, and you played it tonight, and you put in the effort, and you found the courage to expose yourself and play something for a group,
Yeah.
It's tough enough to play just for one person, but a group of like 8 people in the garage,
yeah.
It's music's my favorite thing in the world, dude.
Yeah.
Favorite thing in the world.
Me too. So cool.
There's nothing better.
Yeah, I love seeing rising stars on YouTube too. It's neat to see these bands get together and they do a cover of a song and they get that spark, and next thing you know, they've got 20,000 subscribers. And then you check back in with them a little while later, they got another cover. Now they've got 40,000 subscribers. Next thing you know, they've got a video saying, we've hit 100,000. And now I think this particular band I'm thinking of is over 200,000 plus. She just graduated from high school, dude. She's just kicking ass. And it's just awesome to see.
Yeah, YouTube, thank you again for giving us a chance.
Don't blow it, YouTube.
Yeah.
Stay pure, do no evil. Figure this ad apocalypse thing out, because it's I don't want it to stifle the creators out there. And I'm not talking CNN and big bands and things like that. I'm talking the small creators, the ones that you give this outlet for. Like two Joes sitting around having a podcast. I mean, it's amazing what opportunity you're giving us to be found and be noticed.
Very grateful. Very grateful.
Very cool.
It's an incredible platform that was unthinkable just 15 years ago. 20 years ago, maybe. I guess ever since the internet came out, this sort of thing has been possible.
Video takes a lot of memory, and you have to have a really fast connection, excuse me, in order to stream it well. Yeah, it took me, I forget when I was really able to start streaming videos without having them glitch on me or anything like that. It was probably 2003, I want to say.
Yeah, about that range.
3 or 4, because you at least had to have DSL, and it had to be in the meg range, I think.
Well, right over here to my left, I have 2 cameras, both high quality. One of them I bought in 2007 for $800. The other one I bought just a year ago for $400. The one I just recently bought is so incredibly advanced over the prior one that it's amazing, and I paid half the price for it.
Wow!
It's
technology is moving along.
It really is. And, I'm so grateful to be a part of it, and I'm resentful. I'm bitter that I won't be around here 100 years from now to see where it's going to be in 100 years, dude.
I go the other direction. I'm pissed that I didn't have a scrolling iPad for lyrics and guitar chords back in my military days when I was, I really could have played every day. But back then you had to buy sheet music. There was no internet to look up chords for a song, And
very true.
Yeah. It was kind of a pain. Okay, I got to turn the page now. Okay, where was I?
Did you have someone introduce you to music, or did you just decide to go start strumming a guitar on your own?
Well, like I said, my sister had a guitar, and then
she kind of introduced you a little bit. Did she help you?
She must have showed me a chord or two.
Did she just allow you to play her guitar?
No, she must have. She had music books, and I think she must have showed me a thing or two, and I just started doing it that way. But I didn't get inspired to play, just really inspired until I met those guys in the military. This one guy I knew, he had an Ovation like mine, only his was a wide body. He was stationed up in the Aleutian Islands off of Alaska, right? Not a lot to do when your shift is over. He played guitar every day for hours, and he got so flippin' good.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hearing him and my other buddy, he used to subscribe to that rock and roll magazine, and every magazine had tablature. He could read tablature like nobody's business. So he'd crank up his amp and get out his electric guitar, and he'd start playing Poison and stuff like this. Just sounded exactly like Poison, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Not good or bad, just exactly like Poison. I love the way you said that.
He sounded good anyway. So those guys inspired me to really start trying harder and getting into guitar, and really inspired me to play and get better.
That's fun.
So I owe it to those guys.
That's cool. It captured you at some point, and why is it? We're all pretty much exposed to music in the same way, Some of us
on
are
the
born,
radio.
Some people are born to a dad who plays guitar. Some are not, But overall, we're kind of exposed to it in the same way.
Sitcoms. I used to love the Partridge Family. I love that music. Yeah.
Some of us start, trying to strum guitar at 8 years old. Some wait until we're 40.
Yeah.
I was 40 when I first started saying, well, maybe I might be able to play a song. I heard Little Lion Little Lion Man by Mumford & Sons on the way home from work.
Wow.
And realized, you know what? I'm going to learn how to play that song. I had owned a guitar for many years.
That's not an easy song either.
It is. It really is.
Is it easy?
Extreme.
I have trouble with it. Just the strum alone is difficult.
You've played it for me in the garage one time.
Well, I tried.
And no, you did well.
I remember you had to correct my strum. You were like, that's not quite how it goes, dude.
Yeah, you got to quicken it up a little bit.
It's a really snappy rhythm.
It's the tuning is the difference. You were trying to play it in standard tuning. If you switch up your tuning, it becomes a very simple song.
I need to start buying more guitars so I can have one in this tuning and one in that tuning. Yeah, because I hate retuning my guitar. It's just I've broken strings doing that before because it's tricky, but at least for me anyway.
You know what I should do is just leave my 12-string in standard tuning, put this one to Little Lion Man and my Yamaha into the Cave. And then, I have enough guitars to tune them all the way they need to be tuned.
Yeah.
I should do that.
Yeah, it's one of the songs I really love to do. I would love to learn how to do the right way is The Joker by the Steve Miller Band. I'm a big Steve Miller Band fan.
We don't play one of his songs, do we?
We do.
Do we?
We do Fly Like an Eagle. Me, you, and Shy Joe did it one night, and it was really good. It was fun because you guys know the song so well. It came off really good, I thought.
Okay.
But there are others we can do. And one of my go-to songs, I've done it so many times I've kind of stopped doing it, is Dance, Dance, Dance. I love that song. That's one of the few songs I can do by heart. I've done it so many times. But I'd like to do The Joker, but The Joker is in a non-standard tuning, and so that's why I never do it.
Mm. Wonderful jam. Wonderful jam. Dude, you have been a jukebox over the years. And you and P-Joe are similar that way, but...
Well, P-Joe got me hooked up with that scrolling app on the iPad, which is a game changer for me.
It changes everything.
Awesome.
It really does. I've seen both of you start trying to figure out the chords and strum pattern for a song you have never played before. You probably heard it, like REM, some of the REM songs we've done. Mm-hmm. You guys, you and P-Joe both just picked them up that quick, that fast. And you didn't get us all the way through to a big flourish finish or anything, but you got us halfway through the song on a song you had never played before in your life.
Sometimes it's enough just to say, that song has a lot of potential. I think we'll work on that one. Which we did the last jam, too. I think there was a song we did that with where, wow, that has a lot of potential. I think it's Lonely Boy. I really thought I was going to do better at Lonely Boy than I did, but I still thought we demonstrated beyond a shadow of a doubt that it has lots of potential, and we're gonna get it.
Wasn't it 3 chords? The whole song is 3 chords.
And really, Marker.
The
bass man is really good on the bass on that one. He's
bass
the guy that introduced us to the song, I believe.
No, it was me.
It was you?
Yeah.
And
I'm going to claim credit for the Black Keys. That is an incredible band, listeners.
Song. I'll have to, do they have others that we might want to incorporate?
I'm sure, yes. Oh, yeah.
I'll have to look them up and try and see if there's anything else that resonates with me.
When you're doing housework one day, just do Black Keys' greatest hits and hear like 8 or 10 of their best songs, and 6 or 7 of them are just golden. It's an incredible band.
Cool.
They're like they remind me of the band Kiss very much because their music is so simple. 3 or 4 chords.
Those are my favorites.
Yeah, but their music is really good. I'd never got into Kiss.
You never got into Kiss?
I didn't.
Man, 6th grade, I got into Kiss big time. 6th grade, yeah.
Was it the makeup dude and the wigs and
everything?
No.
I liked, well, of course, everyone liked that slower song they played with the drummer sang it, Beth. It was a great song. I was very emotional, they were one of the first groups where the kind of a rock band that introduced a slower song and got a hit with that slower song. And then after a while, all the big rock bands started doing it. Like Every Rose Has Its Thorn. That was Poison's slow song. And then there were others, but I can't think of them. But
Going
you know
to
what
California
I mean.
by Led Zeppelin.
Maybe. Oh, maybe they started it. They were before Kiss. Anyway, I liked Kiss. They had some good songs, and they were
they were energetic. I'll give them that for
sure.
sure.
This was back in the day in 6th grade where I didn't see them perform it ever. I had their 8-track. I got their 8-track from that one of those
8-track. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's
the listeners that's an advantage we have over you. You probably don't know what an 8-track is. You'd have to look that up on Wikipedia. Go look up what an image of an 8-track looks like. Just take a. Well, they don't know what cassettes look like either, do they?
Not anymore, huh? Or CDs
CDs are going out.
Jeez.
DVDs are gone now too. It's all cloud. It's all content.
It really is.
It's all your phone.
I'm kind of in between apps right now. I'm not sure what to do. I used to love iTunes a lot, but I had trouble with iTunes. I don't know if it was my hard drive partially dying or iTunes screwing me over, but now, like, the majority of my songs they play halfway through and then they just cut off. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You think if it was a hard drive failure, it'd be more than just half the song. I don't know.
Well, how do these companies make money? It's not by selling content. It's by generating traffic. They need traffic.
Yeah, but
they'll cut your song off halfway in between because they need you to come back.
They're willing to let me re-download it, but what a pain to go through 400 songs and re-download each and every one. And so that's where I'm at. Do I want to do that, or do I want to pay $10 a month for a music service like Spotify or Apple Music? Or what do you do? Do you have a app that you like?
No, I don't. I'm a day-to-day guy. And what that means is that whatever day I wake up, tomorrow's Monday, and then 2 days later is Wednesday, or whatever, if I feel like listening to Mumford & Sons or Obla Di Obla Da or the Stones or going back to my Facebook archives, dude. Do you know what a treasure trove I have out there on my Facebook?
I do not know.
Of the recordings that I have that go back years, many years. We're talking back when my son was 12 and Daijo were playing music together, and Shy Joe's eldest has 4 gems on my Facebook, or 4 gems on my Facebook. Well, more than that. No, like 8. See, you were there for the, not this July, but the July before. You were there for the jam that I had the night before the 4th of July. The night before holiday is a great night to throw a party. And she did Benny and the Jets, and she did one of her signature songs. Forget it now. Riptide.
Riptide, yeah, yes. That's a great song. Yeah, and she does a really good job with that.
Remember how the elder Czech Joe joined in at the end of that song and played that solo that was incredible, and the younger P. Joe kept the song going after E. Joe wanted to. E. Joe plays extremely clinically, very to the note, to the strum, to the finish, to the and P. Joe kept that song going that night. Hats off to P. Joe, if you're listening out there.
I mentioned the podcast to him the other night. I don't know if he ever will listen to it, but I hope he does.
Hope so. It'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
And there again, dude, Main Joe, we just have to keep going.
Yeah.
We have to keep doing this. We have to keep, no
times,
matter how we might feel
memories.
that day, we might not feel, if we got a bad case of bronchitis, okay, we'll miss a Sunday. But we got to keep this going.
Yeah, I think I agree. Yeah.
They'll find us. We will be found.
We're talking music here at Mojo Studio. We're a couple of 50-year-old jammers. We have views on the political system in this country. We have views on healthcare and all kinds of black holes we've talked about. We go all over the map. So if you're looking for some way to entertain yourself while you're doing housework, maybe put on the Two Joes podcast. We'll be your friends.
Oh, man, well done. Well stated, well said.
We're here for you. And don't forget to comment below, because, we'll read them, and we'd like to hear what you think. And thanks for joining us. This has been a pretty great little podcast, talking about music the whole time. And
music, fun, friends, and
good energy, positive vibes.
Thank you so much, everybody.